Okay, let's see. Am I live yet? Yes, I'm live. Hey, morning. Hey, Data. Yes, it's toss time. Hey, Retro. Good morning, Retro. Welcome. I think this is a. All right. I hope y'all both still out there. But anyway, good morning. It is Monday. Ah, isn't this wonderful? Monday the 10th. Tomorrow starts Prime Day. I don't. How many people have got their shopping carts just absolutely loaded already at Amazon, just waiting for tomorrow to see if any of the stuff that they want is on this huge sale they got. No, Data, I didn't roll out of bed. I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning. Got up and did 2 hours, 2.5 hours of paperwork and made the wife breakfast, got her off to work, changed out computers, and started working on this stream. I sound all mushy headed. Huh. Is it my mic? Let me check my mic here real quick. Not according to this, my just sleepy, huh? Nah, not sleepy. Uh I've got a slight head cold going on, but I mean that's nothing new. Uh the wife likes that air conditioner and ceiling fan going, and it just during the summer it always gives me a light head cold throughout the year, throughout the summer. Once fall kicks around and temperatures start to drop to where I don't have to have the air conditioner running at night, I uh, sleep a lot better. She likes it colder in the house than I do. Let's see here. Let's start off with a bit of. Eh, Supposedly, Bud Light has fallen out of the top 10 favorite beers. Poor Bud Light. I saw a commercial for him last night. Some girl wearing Daisy Dukes and a guy in the middle that with another girl on the other side of them walking through, cornfields or something. Now what's and my dog comes over here and he decides he wants to start whining at me. Let me see if I can give him a treat and make him happy puppy. But anyway, uh Budweiser commercial last night. Anyway, they're going through everybody that uh works for Budweiser or is affected by Budweiser. The guy that's the bartender, the waitress, the guy at the convenience store, the truck drivers, the stockers, the guy who orders the beer for the individual places. Then, of course, the people who grow the barley, and the guy that grows the hops, and the guy that grows this, and the guy who grows that. All this good stuff. Hey, more half your cat is trying. My cat, if I've got my cell phone in my hand because I've got a leather wallet that I made for it, and my cat likes rubbing his head up against the wallet, against the leather. Just drives me up the wall, especially when I'm trying to do something on it. But I mean, Budweiser's really pushing out the ads right now, trying to get away from that Mulvaney fiasco. And last I heard, they still haven't announced whether or not they actually fired that woman that come up with it. But yeah, they're Budweiser's really trying to do their stuff. Okay. Like I said, this is a catch-up stream, so there'll be a couple of things I'll get a little long-winded on, as always, but a lot of the stuff is going to just be short and sweet. Okay, let's see what we got here. What sort? Oh, they're putting their scent on it. Claiming yeah. My wife has already done that though. My wallet's her. That's why my wallet's usually empty. Is she's claimed all the this possessions as hers. Let's da. KJP taking questions. And what is the question of the day?
Sorry to bring up cocaine again, but there was a question yesterday during the press gaggle with Andrew Bates that was, I guess, he said that he was avoiding it because of the Hatch Act. I'm just
avoiding the cocaine question because of the Hatch Act. Other than the fact that this cocaine mess could, not will, but could hurt Biden's chances for reelection. There's nothing about the Hatch Act on this. Not that I can see. So I don't understand what they're going. What's going on here? Why won't this video play? Oh, are they telling me I can't pause this video? What the hey? Oh. Am I still there? Yeah. Retro, I've got a feeling this is all got to do with they're tired already of people knowing that it's hunters, or making the assumption that it's hunters because, of course, his own past affliction, their, um, stop sharing that. It's not, I can't finish it. She, KGP goes into this whole thing, talking about everything but that. What you want, Spanky? Don't know if he's trying to go, don't know what's going on with my puppy right now. You stand here, stand here staring at me, whining. The whole country's assuming that it's hunters because of his history. Could it be Joe's? I think they've got Joe on other drugs besides cocaine. But they don't want to even acknowledge the fact that it could be hunters That's the whole problem here. The entire country is assuming that as hunters, and they just don't want to address that elephant that's in the room. So, all right. Well, so much for that video. So much for that video. All right. So let's see. What was next on my list here? Oh, okay. Here we go. Oh, whatever they have Biden on retro, that is that's some scary stuff. They've got to have him on, and they got to be pumping it into him through his CPAP machine during his afternoon nap. They're pumping something to him through his afternoon nap there. The Tennessee ban on gender affirming care for minors can proceed. Federal court rules. A Tennessee law banning gender affirming care for minors will go into effect after a U.S. appeals court ruling Saturday, the first instance of a federal court allowing a ban of this kind to proceed after similar laws were blocked in other states. This will definitely go before the Supreme Court now. The 2-1 ruling from the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals reversed the lower district court's injunction that paused the Tennessee law. The new ruling is still only temporary, as the appeals court has to conduct a full review of the case, which judges said will be completed by the end of September. Tennessee's law prohibits medical providers from offering gender-affirming care and requires transgender youth currently receiving such treatment to end that care by March 31st of 2024. I'm still going with the idea you cannot give a child tattoos because they're permanent. How in the hell can you cut off a girl's breast or give a boy drugs that is going to prevent his equipment from developing normally? Billy Carter, I know everybody's drawn this. A lot of people have drawn that comparison between Hunter and Billy. Billy was a joke, though. Everybody laughed at and with Billy. Billy was just humorous. Hunter is a downright embarrassment with his criminal activities. Billy didn't do anything criminal. And yeah, you're Dana. Yeah, I agree with you. With all the cameras that they've got in that building, they know exactly who dropped that cocaine. And obviously, again, we'll let everybody draw their own conclusions. My obvious conclusion is that falls back on Hunter. But anyway, this deal with gender affirming care for teenagers and children, they're going to destroy lives. And there's going to be a lot of people who will need to be sued, who should be sued. that are getting rich over this, and they'll be untouchable. Which is an absolute and total shame. They'll be absolutely untouchable. Nothing will ever happen to them. They'll be, I, a couple weeks or so ago, I went through a list of West Coast hospitals, mostly in California and some in Hawaii, I believe, that were performing these surgeries on kids 17 and younger. Every one of them, every surgeon, every doctor, every therapist, everybody pushing this stuff should be held accountable. And unfortunately, not many of them will be. Okay, going to stop over here at the Supreme Court for a second. And not the Supreme Court itself, but oops, but what web designer ruling against the views of most Americans on LGBTQ discrimination poll finds. Once again, the Supreme Court is not there to rule according to the will of the American populace. It is there to rule on whether or not a law is constitutional or not. There's been a lot of rulings by the Supreme Court I haven't liked. Rulings that they said were supportive of the Constitution, supported by the Constitution. If you were to sit there and ask the general population bad rulings by the Supreme Court, one of the first ones that come up would be Brown. There'd be a lot of ruling. There'd be some that pull up rulings. The separate but equal clause would be one that people would come pop up with and say, well, that was a bad ruling. Okay. But they turned around and corrected that ruling. The Roe decision, the left loved the Roe decision. There's people, I mean, how the, I'm still amazed that the web designer ruling, how anybody can say that web designer ruling is wrong. They would no more suggest that somebody going into a black-owned bakery and demanding that black company, black-owned bakery, bake a cake and design a cake out for the KKK, or a black website designer design a website for the KKK. An Islam follower had a kid castrated. Horrible call for the kid. Trans is celebrated. Yeah. if this if this was a black baker refusing to bake a cake for KKK, people would stand up and cheer it. Yes, that's right. How dare they do that? A black baker refusing to put a Confederate flag on a cake. The left would be cheering the ruling. How dare somebody try to tell this man he's got to design such a racist thing? For them, it's all about who the victim is. Which side has their victim, has the most victim points. That's the side that they're on. They're not on the side of what's actually right. It's just who's got the most victim points. Who's the most oppressed of these? So this is absolutely nuts. But of course, the left wing newspapers, left wing media is going to sit there and push this stuff out. They're going to push these and try to push these out as being the Supreme Court is out of touch. The Supreme Court is too radical. The Supreme Court needs to be uh, have Clarence Thomas removed and somebody else put on, somebody much more liberal. This is what they're going for. So, you know, they want the Supreme Court on their side. That not too long ago, I read an article about how all of a sudden the the left is against Supreme Court rulings like this because it's legislating from the bench. Well, we wouldn't have gay marriage today if it wasn't for the Supreme Court legislating from the bench. Again, it's which side has the most victim points is what they're looking for. That's all I'm trying to figure out. No, he's not wanting to go outside. This weather he wants me on the couch where he can sit up next to me, but I can't go on the couch. The survey conducted by Data for Progress, yeah, okay, found 65% of voters believe businesses should not be allowed to turn away customers who are particular sexual orientation because of the business owner's personal belief. Why wasn't the question put there? See, this is that leading question. They're trying to push, that push polling. They're looking for a specific answer. If they would have, I wonder if they would, how that answer would have been if uh, business should not be allowed to turn away customers for any reason. Because of the business owner's personal belief. For any reason. And then remember, these people weren't pushed away because of their sexual orientation, but because of what they wanted the business owner to do. If they would have taken one of their off the shelf websites, much like the baker, The baker said, "Hey, I'll sell you any of my cakes that I've got. I'm just not going to design one specifically for you celebrating your gay marriage." There's a difference there. I'm not refusing your business. You can buy anything I have off the shelf. I'm just not going to design one specifically celebrating something I don't agree with. And there's a difference between refusing a customer and refusing to a customer because of their orientation and refusing to design something using your artistic abilities. I'll bake a cake for you all day long and slap white frosting on it and call it good. Now, what you want to do with that cake when you get it home is up to you. Here's the basic website. Have fun with it. Data for Progress describes itself on its website as a multidisciplinary group of experts using state-of-the-art techniques and data science to support progressive activists and causes. So of course they're not going to be honest in how they frame their questions. They're not going to be honest in how they do this because they want to push their left wing, the progressive agenda. Hey Badger, how you doing? Afternoon, Fury. Well, see, the storm is basically over with now, Retro. So I don't understand why he's so anxious. This storm ended just about 10 minutes before about 10 till quarter till 9 my time. In fact, it's not even raining now. And baking a cake is a service. Exactly, retro. Decoration is an art. And see that I love this. The findings come as LGBT rights are increasingly under attack. Tell me where LGBT rights are under attack. The only thing under attack is exposing children to it, minors, in a taxpayer funded or public situation, public schools, and on the streets. There's no law, there's no law out there. Nobody's pushed a law saying that you can't be gay. There's nobody pushing a law saying that a gay person can't get married. There's no law out there pushing anything that actually infringes on their rights. Where the laws are coming into effect is having pornography in books that are downright pornographic in the school systems, and having uh, these sexualized shows to where children can be exposed to it. The drag queens doing do you know how to do the shimmy, shimmy, shimmy? Where they uh, shake their fake boobs back and forth, or doing I guess you call it dancing. That these guys talk about drag being around for decades and centuries. They're right. Men dressing as women and the theater has been around since Aristotle. And that's true. But what that is not the drag. The drag of the theater, the drag of Broadway, is not the drag that goes on in the gay clubs or what's been being pushed in the school systems. The drag queen reading hour. It's not the same thing. No, Fury, in a way, I agree with you about the management reserves the right to refuse service for any reason should be the default. I don't think it's right that a business should be, we'll serve whites only, we will serve women only, we will serve men only, we will serve blacks only. I don't think that's right. And I don't think a business should refuse business to a person just because they may be gay or straight or whatever. But, but I don't think it's the government's position to step in and tell a small business owner, that they have to accept people as a customer. Now, corporations which have near who are nearly monopolies, like your power company, your phone company, your a company like Walmart or a CVS or Walgreens. Morning, Mike R. How you doing today? You're right. Freedom of association is a thing. Now, if you want to have a business that is a niche business that is for drag, a niche business for gays, a niche business for whatever. Your target audience, your target customer base, you want to really narrowly define your customer base. That's fine too. That's fine too. Okay, you put up a big old rainbow colored sign and the gay emporium, the drag queen emporium, and have uh, pictures of famous drag queens on the on your window front and whatever. That's fine. Then you're doing a targeted. You are then uh, targeting who you want as your customer base. But I've been made very uncomfortable in some stores because I'm white, and I just don't go back. There's a couple of stores in nearby town that uh, you just don't feel comfortable going into if you're white. You're made to feel rather uncomfortable. They don't want white people in there as a customer, and that's fine. All right. Now they don't have a sign out front. White's not allowed. But if you're a white person to walk in there, rather quickly that they'd rather you not be there. Hey, Ramen, how you doing today? I'm just this idea that people think the Supreme Court is there to follow the will of the people. That's not the whole purpose of the Supreme Court. If that was the purpose of the Supreme Court, we wouldn't need a Supreme Court. We've got 535 people sitting up there in Washington, D.C. that are there to follow the will of the people. That get elected every 2 and 6 years. Well, 2, 4, and 6 years. So now we've already got people whose jobs that is. The Supreme Court's job is to keep them people in check to make certain that they follow the Constitution and protect the rights of the minority. Because otherwise, then all we've got is the mob mentality leading the country. Okay, Fury. Yeah, I mean, I I've never been in a position where I've been told I had to wear something that would, like a rainbow vest or anything like that. Um, but so, but I would like to think that I would stand up for my own principles, and I would turn down that job, turn down that posting for the day, whatever. But until you're actually put in that position, you can stand there and claim, well, I do the same thing. But until you've actually been stuck in that position, you can't claim that you'll do it, what you would do. Rainbow Retro, the I don't, if a church wants to marry somebody, that's fine. If uh, if a church wants to let people in to get married, that's fine. But that same church, that same pastor's got the right to refuse to marry people for whatever reason they determine. I I've known Catholic priests that refused to marry couples if both of them weren't practicing Catholics. I would imagine there's some rabbis, if both aren't practicing Jews, would refuse to marry people. So, let the individual churches have the right. The government shouldn't be telling individual churches who they have to marry. Now, a judge, a somebody paid by the taxpayer, as long as the marriage is legal, then they should have to marry them. 20, let's see, 2020, everyone locked down being questioned as being out. Oh, yeah, yeah, you're right. There was a trial here not too long ago here in the States. Uh, I'm trying to remember which governor it was because there's so many of these stupid governors. This may have been Michigan, I think, to where she had banned churches getting together in part, and you couldn't even go to a church service if you sat in your car in the parking lot with your windows rolled up, listening to them on a short wave on your radio. But she was out. But she was out there with BLM protesters, arm in arm. And when one of her, I believe it was one of her lawyers, was being questioned about it, and well, I was just enforcing the law as it was written. Uh, that's pretty much as that is. Let's see here, what else going on there. Uh, the government Badger. I disagree with that. The government needs to be involved with marriage as far as setting. Uh, we don't want 13-year-old girls getting put into a marriage with a 40-year-old man. Okay. We don't want a 14-year-old boy being put into a marriage with a 40-year-old woman. So, or we don't want anybody 13, 14 years old being forced into a wedding with a full grown adult. So that's where I think the government stepping in and as far as being involved in marriage. So, all right, now, uh, let's see here. Where are we going to go with this? These next two are going. These next two stories here. Um, we'll start with this one here first because I got three stories that are sort of intertwined. Two of them are definitely intertwined. The third one is funny. All right. Transgender cyclist. See, can I get rid of that? Wins race and female category. Claims the goal was to stir controversy and prove male born athletes have an advantage. And there it is. A transgender cyclist believes there should be a particular category for trans athletes, and to prove a point, Na Wa Ren first wanted to win a competition for women. Oops. Talking to the Korea Times, the 37-year-old Nawal Ren said she was ready for transphobic remarks. However, her intent was to show that male-born athletes uh, claims that she felt sorry for the other female competitors, adding that while crossing the finishing line, she felt more relieved than triumphant. She also told the publication she offered other athletes energy drinks as an apology. The cyclist added, I'm not honored. I'm not proud of myself. I believe other transgender athletes would feel the same way. Oh, no, no, no. Most of these transgender athletes, they're very happy that they won. They're proud that they won. These men that are ranked 203rd in the men's category puts on a dress and lipstick, and all of a sudden, they're finishing first, second, and third. They may not want to admit it, but they're being selfish. Yes, they are definitely being selfish. And there is no honor as an athlete in that. And I agree 100%. There is no honor in that kind of a victory. Now believes a third gender category would be fair. She explained the current binary system leaves women discouraged and their hard work might not be recognized due to the participation of transgender athletes. At the same time, male to female transgender athletes, no matter how hard they work, will never truly be honored for their wins. So that, I mean, that good point there, right? So what happens? Cycling event alters category policy and furor after transgender competitors win a women's race. This is a different race. A prominent cycling event announced changes to its category policy Friday, weeks after transgender competitor Austin Killip's win created a stir on social media. The Belgium waffle ride saw Killip's win in Henderson, North Carolina back in June. As criticism online, organizers said the new policy, which includes an open category, will take effect on August 1st. The next Belgium waffle ride will take place in Cedar City, Utah on August 26th. And there's this thing, got dangly bits between its legs, but all of a sudden it's a female. Monuments of Cycling and the Belgium Waffle Ride events are committed to ensuring that all participants have equal access and opportunities to participate in our cycling events in a fair manner while preserving the integrity of the sport and respecting international regulations. All right. So let's take a look at what their changes are going to be. All right. Organizers said there'll be 3 categories: female, male, and open. So you said, okay, female, obviously, no, females only, males only, and open. Anybody who wants to, anybody who doesn't want to, female. In the interest of protecting the parity of sports between women and men, racers who were born female may compete in this classification. Sounds like a winner. To use current parlance, if you were assigned, if you were noticed to have had a vagina when you were born, you didn't have dangly bits, then you're a female and you can open and you can race in the female only category. Male, racers who were born and or identify as male. Why? If you're going to have the race, have a category for women only, people without dangly bits, who were born without those dangly bits, are only allowed to race in this category. And you're doing that in order to be fair. Okay, uh-oh. Retro, where's the troll at? Am I missing something there? Let's see. After an illegal gay marriage, the government shouldn't be enforcing the laws written. What does the law say about dereliction of duty? Oh, okay. Get back over here. But in the male category, why they even bother having an open category if anybody can race in, if anybody who claims they identify as a male can race? Shouldn't, and the male category, shouldn't it only be people who were born with the dangly bits? I mean, if they're going to restrict the female, they need to restrict the male to the same way. Yes, granted, you know, uh, for the most part, you're not going to get very many women that are going to be able to win as those who are born as women, be able to win in the male category. That's not going to happen very often. But if you're going to restrict one based upon what they were born as, you need to restrict the other. And then have the open category. All races, regardless of gender identification, may compete in this classification. Don't tell me women aren't a protected species. Now, I don't disagree with the first part of this. Yes, the women's category ought to be for those who were born women only. Oh, the cyclist one was a troll, and yeah, the South Korean, yeah. Uh, the I don't disagree that the women's category ought to be for those who are born as a woman. No dangly bits ever involved. But the men's category ought to be the same way, though. Men only. And then the open category for those who are confused, who need psychological help, or for men who want to race against women, or women who want to race against men. Why even bother having an open category if you're going to allow women to race in the men's category? That's just, again, that's just, if you're going to do one, you need to do the other. If you're not going to do one, then don't do any. That was my problem when that my wife gets mad at me sometimes because of the way I think like this. And she's the one that will sit there and say, "Well, you know these women have sat there." We'd actually discussed this. She normally doesn't stick her nose into what I'm going to discuss on these streams because she normally couldn't care less. But we discussed this for a bit this morning. She goes, "Well, if a woman thinks she's a man and she's gone and had the testosterone injected into her system and everything else for years, then, you know, where does it hurt to have her race?" Well, because she's not a man. She's a woman. That's where it hurts. If you're having a separate category for the women, you need to have a separate category for the men based on the same criteria. I mean, double standards much? It's like this whole deal with Riley Gaines. And that's going to be the next article here I got pulled up. Riley Gaines, we all know about her. Fury, yeah, nothing would ever surprise me. You may be right. That may happen. But I think there's a liberal TikToker that I follow. And I follow her more because she makes me laugh. She's a huge Disney freak, and she lives out in California. And I mean Disney freak in the nice way. Okay. She does with a lot of bounding, and she does a bunch of other stuff. She goes to Disney. She has spent more money on Disney collectibles and such than what I've probably than what I've spent on books and computer stuff in my lifetime. She's she is absolutely fanatical about Disney and Disney characters. But she did a skit one day where you know she taps herself on the shoulder and first character, we want to get married. And she's like, well, okay, I don't care. And that's what most people were. You know, you want to have a legal union between two men or two women. uh, You're over 21. You're legal adults. Do what you do as long, what goes on between two consenting adults, I don't care. I may not agree with it, but I don't care. I know that sounds contradictory in its own way, but that's not something I would do, but have a nut. Go you be you. And then it just progressed from there to finally, you know, uh then the next one was, hey, excuse me, but we want to, alter our bodies. Hey, it's your money. You're over 21. Go do what you want to do. It's your money, your body. Have a nut. And if you've seen these guys like the Black Alien and such, man, some of these people spend an absolute bloody fortune in modifying their bodies. And, you know, you do you. You want to tattoo your body? That's modifying. You want to put in earrings and nose studs and everything else? That's your body. You're modifying it. You want to modify your body by, as an adult, cut off your dangly bits, cut off your boobs, inject yourself full of testosterone or estrogen or whatever. You know, do you want to wear a wig, grow your hair long and wigs and put on makeup, or force yourself to shave areas of your body you wouldn't normally have to shave? Hey, again, go for it. But then the next line, you know, well, hey, we want to start talking to your children about this. No, that's a hard no. You leave my kids alone. And she's absolutely right. As an adult, you do to yourself what you want to do. As long as what you're doing does not affect me or mine, and you're not involving children, have a nut. But anyway, um, let's see, where's this? Now, I I haven't gotten the pushback I've expected yet from a comment I made about this article right here. YMCA accuses teen girl of hate speech for opposing men in the girls' locker room. Yeah, another trans cultic offense against children, women, decency, and reason. Okay, we already know that this is a right wing site. All right. The Springfield YMCA Typhoon Swim Team in Springfield, Illinois now allows biological men who pretend to be women to enter the girls' locker room, including when minor girls are present and undressing. The coaches and the YMCA administrators began this practice without telling any of the girls or their parents. That's a big problem. They should have told the parents. They should have told the girls. Hey, on June 1st or on July 1st or whatever, we're going to start, this is going to be our new policy. They should have let the parents know. They should have let the people know. On April 27th, my 16-year-old daughter, member of the YMCA Spy Swim Team, entered the girls' locker room to change out of her swimsuit and noticed a couple of transgender individuals sitting in the locker room. My daughter went back out on the pool deck and informed the head swim coach of the situation, and he responded to her by stating, "There's nothing I can do about it." On May 10th, the swim team held their monthly parent meeting where the issue of the girls' locker room use by biological males was brought up. The meeting was attended by Angie Soul, Chief Executive Officer of the YMCA. The parents were told there's nothing to be done about it. Parents asked if the Y could ask the transgender members to use a family changing area, private bathrooms with toilet, sink, shower, and changing area instead of the girls' locker room. All right, that sounds fair. You got boys, girls, and then you've got the family. YMCA staff said they could not do that because it's discrimination and against the law. Parents asked if the Y could send out notification to the swim team members that transgender were using the girls' locker room, and the member could make informed decisions for their family. Again, the Y staff said they would not do that because it's discrimination against the law. After the parent meeting, the daughter, her mom, and another swim mom approached them, and the daughter said she didn't understand why this was happening and asked how long the Y knew about it. The coach laughed and stated, "Transgender people have been around for a long time." My daughter then stated, "That is not the question I asked." She asked the question again, and Ms. Swole responded, "We have known for a while." Meeting was set up by the Y staff to attend and voice concerns. The Y administration canceled the meeting 2 hours before it was to take place. So, long story short, the girl and her family did not like the idea of her having to change clothes in front of people with dangly bits. And she was called transphobe. She was called all kinds of nasty names. And she's eventually kicked off the team for doing it. Now, my response to this is I fully agree. Women should be able to go into a locker room and not worry about whether or not there's going to be some man in there, somebody with dangly bits, watching them undress. I should be able to send my daughter into a dressing room and not worry about some guy, some adult male, some adult with dangly bits being in there watching my minor daughter getting undressed. That should not be a concern I, as a parent, have. But women, you asked for this. This fault is yours. If y'all notice, this is the YMCA, not the YWCA. Women years ago decided that they did not want men to have a place that excluded them. So they forced their way into the YMCA, the Young Men's Christian Association. Now, see, I grew up in Ohio, veteran, and I have to agree with you. But women, you brought this on yourselves. You demanded to be let into these places where men were. But then at the same time, you demanded that you be given places separate from men inside of these male places. And face it, women, if it weren't for you, if it weren't for women, we wouldn't be having a lot of these issues we're having right now on this. It's because of women. And, it wasn't men that decided women needed to be into the YMCA. It was women who did that. It wasn't men that said that we needed to be nice, play nice, and let all these social changes happen. It was women. You go to these protests, these liberal protests, you're going to see more women than men there. It's women that push this stuff. Men just, a lot of men just went along with it because they wanted to be with the women. And then you got your children involved. Women, this is your fault. And when you sit back and acknowledge that, then maybe we can start getting this stuff straightened back out again. Retro, even though I haven't lived in Ohio in, God, 45 years, 47 years. Let's see, exactly how long has it been since I lived in Ohio? This is 2023. I left in 1978. 45 years since I lived in Ohio. I can still remember Cleveland and Cincinnati and down around Columbus. Those three areas pushed a lot of the Ohio politics. But that's pretty much because most of the rest of Ohio's mostly rural areas. Smaller towns, not small towns, but smaller towns. They're not big cities. But I mean, it's like I said, I grew up where my nearest living neighbors were a mile and a half away for the most part. I don't, I agree women should have their own areas change clothes and men shouldn't be into that area. That's pervish. That's people just being a pervert. But it happens now, and it's all women's fault. Ladies, y'all getting what you're getting what you've earned here. I'm I'm surprised I have not gotten the pushback though, not as of an hour ago on Twitter for making that comment. I fully expected a lot of pushback on that. Okay, what's this? And again, being from Ohio, I grew up being a Cleveland Browns, Cleveland Indians, and a Cleveland Cavaliers fan. I've always been, and of course my Buckeyes. One player, I cannot say his name without having to spit to wash my mouth out. So let me get my empty cup here. Oh, I need to share this article. You are not trustworthy. LeBron James controversial statement about gay NBA players after John Amici came out. When former NBA big man John Amici came out as gay in 2007, his bold admission reverberated across the league. As expected, the media quizzed some big-name NBA stars, most notably LeBron James, who said Amici needed to be more trustworthy. With teammates, you have to be trustworthy, and if you're gay and you're not admitting that you're not trustworthy. All right. Why does anybody have to proclaim their sexuality if they don't want to? LeBron, tell me why anybody has to proclaim their sexuality. I said his name. I gotta wash that bad flavor out of my mouth. It's not your business who I like to sleep with. It's not your business who he wants to sleep with, unless he comes up and says he wants to make it with you. If he wants to keep it a secret, then he can. It's none of your damn business. Yes, I know. I lived in the dorms, in the barracks when I was in Germany, when I was at Luke. At open showers, open bay showers. Didn't know who was gay in them showers. You went in, you got naked in one room, you walked into the next room, you took your shower, you come back out of that shower into the next room, dried off, got dressed, and walked down to your room. It's it's no one's business. This article just come up yesterday about something that came out in 2007. But another part of this article was this. Asshole should have been entitled to, indeed, asshole was entitled to his own opinion. But for Amici, a person of an asshole stature on the world's grandest basketball stage, should have known that whether he liked it or not, it's his responsibility to set a good example. By that, Amici meant asshole should have either come up with a more sensitive remark or not talked about the subject if he was not in favor of NBA players being gay. Now, this here's Amici. Asshole is entitled to his opinion, and when asked, he's entitled to state his opinion, whether you like his opinion or not. Just as you had the right to keep your sexuality a secret until you were willing to come out with it and announce it to the world, when LeBron Pilley was asked about it, he had the right to state his opinion whether you liked it or not. You don't you he no more has the right you no more have the right to tell him to shut up, that he can't state his opinion, than he has the right to tell you that you have to tell everybody that you're gay. I don't understand what it is about these people on the left. I don't understand. You can't proclaim rights for yourself that you're going to deny others. You can't sit there and say, I've got the right to keep being my sexuality a secret, then tell somebody else that they have to keep their opinion a secret if you don't like their opinion. These are stupid people, but they're the ones. This is what's running our country right now. The progressives. These are the people who are running our country and, for that matter, running the world. You go to any Western country, and you're going to see it's these progressives that are running the world right now. It doesn't matter what country you look at. Tell me the British Empire isn't being run by a bunch of far left progressives. Tell me Scotland isn't being run by a bunch of far lefters. Ireland, the United States, Canada. My God, Canada. Yeah, sports ball player has opinion. It's not that, I don't care what his opinion is, but he's got the right to it. And if I don't like it, that doesn't mean I want him to shut up about it, that he doesn't have the right to express it. He's got his right to express his opinion. You may not like it, I may not like it, but he's still got the right to it. And he's got as much of a right to say his opinion as you do to say yours. I listen to people's opinions all day long that I don't like. That I don't want them to shut up. I don't want to force them to shut up. Yeah, Fury, you're not wrong. you're not wrong. I know more, thanks to the internet. Thanks to the internet, I've learned more about uh, the Scottish, the British, and the Irish political systems than what I ever would have thought I'd ever learn. That is a good thing about the internet and being involved and not being the TikTok or the Tumblr crowd or this kind of stuff, but using the internet for learning about other countries and how their governments actually run and what the parties are like. And I think that's a problem a lot of Americans have is and I use we as a collective Americans, not people who are listening to me right now because y'all are a lot like me, whether you like it or not. You're interested in politics and you're interested in what other countries do, their political machinery, because of how it affects us. And, the rest of the world has us forced on them. I'm sad to say, whether they like it or not, the rest of the world. I know, I know people uh, who are not citizens and don't live here that know more about American politics than some Americans do, because our politics is forced down their throats so much. Meanwhile, we got stupid ass Americans. The only thing they're interested in is putting on uh, dresses and bebop around, showing off their dangly bits. But see, this here case, back to this story here. This is a pox on both people here. LeBron, you've got no you. It's none of your business whether or not he should as to when this man pops out with his sexuality and tells you about it. And Amici is it's his opinion. If you don't like it, you don't like it. He still has the right to it, and he has the right to express it, especially when he's asked about it. I'm sorry that hurts your feelings. Um, Yep. I've I've got to fix that today. That's something else I got to work on here sometime today. Let's see here. What's the next thing I want to take a look at here? I got all kinds of good stuff. Oh, have y'all ever done any of these online quizzes? Uh, who's your fictional twin? Who's your most likely superhero, or what kind of superhero would you be, or what kind? I did one of those here recently. Just I had some time to kill, nothing better to do. Most of y'all know I have always been a big book reader. And I mean I grew up reading Agatha Christie and uh, all of her novels. Uh, grew up reading all the Sherlock Holmes books. Grew up reading. I mean, of course, I went through the Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys books. Yes, I even read the Nancy Drew books. Those were fun to read too. But the detective novels were always my thing. To I always liked reading. Uh, then historical fiction. That was another thing. The James Jakes, the Bastard series. Those were fun to read. Historical fiction. But anyway, I took one of those things. Yeah, well, like I said, I was bored, Fury, and so I went through this thing. What color do you? What's your favorite color? What kind of house do you like? What kind of vehicle do you like? What's your favorite food? What's your least favorite food? Yeah, blah 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 blah. About 50 questions or so. I was starting to get bored of taking this damn test. But when it got all said and done, the two characters that said I was most like just happened to be two characters that books, movies, TV shows were always my favorite to watch: Sherlock Holmes and Zorro. I was absolutely amazed because those were always. Now, yes, I am a Basil. Grew up watching the Basil Rathbone Sherlock Holmes movies. But when I finally got introduced to Jeremy Brett, uh, Basil Rathbone will always be my favorite because that's what I grew up watching. But the Jeremy Brett series was the most true to the books. So that's a discussion we need to. If anybody ever wants to discuss the old Sherlock Holmes books or movies, I, that's something I could have. I could easily burn a lot of time on those. But then I've always liked Basil Rathbone's one of my favorite actors from that time period. Anyway, simply because he was just so good as a swordsman. Yeah, Brett, he did such a fantastic job. It is a shame that he'd gotten sick and put on so much weight there towards the end of his run. I mean, you could tell when he started getting sick. by just his physical appearance and even the way he moved. But I really, when it comes to actually portraying Sherlock Holmes as Sherlock Holmes in the books, I think he did the best job. Um, there's okay. What else? Okay, I think I got most of the ugly stuff out of the way. Uh, there was a couple other ones. Oh, I'm leaving this story for tune in to Monkey tonight because he'll probably be talking about. I found a thing by the Krasenstein brothers here. Lives at TikTok and stochastic terrorism. My story by Krasenstein Substack. Monkey will probably be having fun with that tonight. So I found that in my stuff this morning, so I sent it to Monkey. So he'll be having fun with it. Um. Oh, okay. Yeah. Where is this other one? Where did that other? Oh, I've got to find this one here because I've got That's the Ketchup stream. Here we go. This Brittany James, MD. I come across this morning. Dr. Brittany James, physician, activist, anti-racism educator. All right. Black Women Deserve Joy, co-founder, IAM, medical director, Southside Chicago. Okay. I woke up yesterday morning, looked out my window, and saw the neighbors hung this on their children's playground. Pull up a seat and join me, friends, for the chronicles of being black in a rich white suburb. A thread. And what does she find? What was so offensive to her? For those of you not actually looking at the screen, it's a black and white blue line flag, the police flag. Now, I'm going to say this up front. I see an officer. I think that these flags should know that these flags here are I'm not going to say illegal, but they should not be worn by an officer on duty on their uniform. Should not be on police vehicles. Should not be hung in police stations. The blue line flag. Yep. Hey, Mike. I don't think that these flags should be on police cars or anything else. They should not be hung out in front of the uh, police station. Just like the red one should not be out in front of fire departments. And thank God I don't know of any military posts that use the green one that's supposed to be for military. Badger, that's exactly it. I find this flag offensive because it is a violation of the flag code. Now you have the right to do what you want to do with your personal flag. I may not like it, but you got the right to do it. I don't care what I care, but you do what you want to do to your personal flag. But I don't think taxpayer dollars should be spent on hanging this flag or displaying it. And it should not be this. I can see where people would call this a gang emblem when on police officers' uniforms. But let's go down here to her post or the people talking about this. Your body has assessed the situation correctly. You know this. It's unsafe to ignore and override a strong somatic response. Your body and brain have evolved for one purpose, keeping you alive. Anyone trying to convince you your body is wrong is gaslighting you. Veronica, DOJ, ride or die chick. I wonder if that means Department of Justice. To simply support the priests and some broad knowledge of their extrajudicial killings and subsequent blocking of any reform might reduce those deaths means accepting or even welcoming premeditated murder. Not just black people, more white people are killed by police than black. But no, it's a racial thing. That these people go absolutely crazy. Dr. James, I and how how can I say this here without sounding too obnoxious? I don't blame you for not liking the blue line flag, the blue lives flag, whatever they want to call it. I don't blame you for not liking it. But just remember, there's as many black cops that wear that flag as there are white. Oh, really? Dana, you're right. Um, Firemen still are much better viewed as than police are. The police, they've like the my local cops again. I grew up in a very rural area of Ohio. My local cop, when I TP'd the fire department with when I was 17 years old, he beat me to my house because he knew exactly who did it. He knew exactly who did it, and he was waiting for me when I got home. My punishment, I had to go up and clean up my mess. That was it. Most of the cops, my dad was a cop, my uncles were cops. I grew up in a family of cops and nurses. And we all knew the shithead cops and who they were. Like we all knew who the shithead nurses were. Why did I TP the fire department? Because I couldn't get to the police department. I was coming home from work at the TV station one night, and actually it wasn't TP, it was videotape. It was 2-inch wide videotape. I had about a mile of it in my car. But I mean, we knew who the idiot ones were that nobody liked, both in the police and I mean, face it, there's just, there's bad nurses and bad doctors out there. Uh, but cops started getting this. Us, when the police started saying it's more about my safety than yours. You can't put your hands in your pants pockets or in your jacket pocket for officer safety, but they can rest their hand on their guns or on their tasers. You get questioned by the police in an incident, and you have to, and they're sitting there questioning you right there on the spot if you're involved in any way, shape, or form. But if the police are involved in something, they get 24 hours. Oh, you changed your mind about going out? They get 24 hours before they have to uh, answer any questions. They're if they're punished, if you file a complaint against an officer and it's upheld, whatever their punishment was, and unless you get a court order, is kept secret. A cop that gets fired for cause, a cop will be offered a chance to resign from a police department rather than be fired. Then he'll go and join another police department. And the next police department won't necessarily, well, we didn't know he was fired for this or that he'd gotten in trouble for this because their personnel records are sealed. The the police, like anybody else, any other group, have gotten to where they're more interested in keeping their we don't have any bad cops. They don't want to punish a cop for doing something wrong. It's that us versus them. And that blue line flag is just an example of that. It's the us versus them because oh, you got a blue line flag, then you're with us. You're against them. And it's like teachers. Teachers unions the same way. It's all these government servants, public servants. Remember when we used to push that they were public servants, public employees. They worked for us. We didn't work for them, they worked for us. But now it's gone that other direction. And it's not just police and teachers. It's the people we've elected to office from everywhere from the dog catcher all the way up to the president of the United States. All these people sit there and say, the only time they want to hear from us is when we're voting on something that they're concerned about, be it their jobs, that elected official, they want to hear from us when it comes time for election season. But other than that, they don't want to hear from us. And the Republicans, you're just as bad. Okay? You're just as bad. But the police have gotten to the point, teachers have gotten to the point, we don't care what you say, and teachers especially. We don't care what you say, that your children are our children. Badger, you're exactly right. You're afraid of me because I got my hands in my pocket when it's cold outside. And meanwhile, you're standing there wearing all that stuff with your hand on your gun, on the butt of your gun. I'm just sometimes I just have to sit back in amazement at what goes on with these people in their minds. I listen to them, and if you get bored, and you do have to be bored, you do have to be bored. All right. Unfortunately, this is the kind of stuff that makes my mind tick sometimes. Watch. You can go on the internet, look up police depositions, where it's the police under investigation and the kinds of answers they give. What's the and how many of them? What's the Fourth Amendment? What's the Second Amendment? What's the First Amendment? And they don't know. They honestly don't know what's in these. You Ask them about the law dealing with the situation, and they don't know the law, but they're out there. Well, we're here to enforce the law. Well, how can you enforce a law you don't know? Now, I'm not this doctor. She's just as bad, Doctor James here. I mean, she sees that blue line flag and she immediately associates it with being a racist flag. It's not racist. That flag is held up by as many black cops as white cops. So it's not racism. And it has nothing to do with being black in a rich white suburb. That's not it. But that tells you where this woman's mindset is. To her, everything's about race. Now, I doubt if she'll ever respond back. But yeah, I mean, she's not going to accept the fact that flag is flown by black cops. To her, it's got to be about white people. The amount of what people say is racism just always amazes me. What they want to do, what they want to say is racist. Um, I can't unbelievably Carrie Lake is still going to court over what happened in Maricopa County. And she's upset that the Arizona appellate court just transferred the election case to the one that covers Pima County. And she claims Pima County being the most Marxist part of the state. So now, test test line is a term for a reason. Yeah, you're right about that. How many of y'all saw this? Okay, this here's from Reddit. 23andMe for trans people. I convinced my friend to take a 23andMe DNA test for fun. She was born male, but now identifies as female. And her results came back with the Y DNA haplogroup and only one X chromosome. This was really problematic for her and made her feel comfortable. Does anyone know if 23andMe makes any accommodations for trans people? Has anyone had any experience with it? And these are the people that are supposed to be talking science? They want 23andMe to lie about your DNA to make you feel better? They want 23andMe to lie about your XY chromosome makeup? Just to make you feel better? I got my own reasons for not doing 23andMe or any of these things. I'd love, in a way, I'd love to, but I'm not going to. But my God, the remember these are the people of the party of science. Just accept the science, and this is the, but real science they don't want to accept. I'm always amazed at these people sometimes. Sometimes they really do get me. And see, and that right after I saw that post, I saw this one, and I just wished it was true. You slept a long time, babe. You kept rambling about virtual currencies, vaccines, and something about World War III. Are you all right? And a picture straight out of the 80s. Yes, this is all a big nightmare. This is all a nightmare. We're living in it. Okay, I think that's about all I've got. Um, Eric Adams is in for a bit of an issue. There's some my the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. He indicted six people implicated involved in a straw donor scheme uh, to get Mayor Adams elected, and it involves $10,000 or no, as to funnel was it tens of thousands of dollars. And one of the guys that was indicted is a former New York Police Department inspector who was a colleague of Adams. So Adams has not been implicated in anything yet, but these guys, what they're doing is purchasing money orders and then submitted them under other people's names. And the thing was, is each of these, let's see, what was it here? Contributions made by the residents during the 2021 election were matched by city funds, matching an 8-to-1, meaning a $250 donation would net a campaign an additional $2,000 in public funds. So Adams may be getting looked at if a closer relationship, but that's going to be a story to come out probably at trial. We'll see how bad the Manhattan DA Bragg wants to hurt Adams, and he may be using Adams here as a way of shielding himself from his attacks on um, Trump. They well, yeah, I went after Trump, but I also went after Adams. So we'll see what happens there. That's just something to keep out there on your radar, not to let it be, you know, it, it's not being talked about too much on out there, but that's at least I haven't seen it. And when I say it's not being talked much out there. What I should be saying is I haven't seen it being talked. It's like I saw my first commercial for the Grimace's birthday special at McDonald's. Saw it the other night. And I said, "Oh, cool. They got a Grimace shake. Let's go stop by McDonald's for lunch. And I want to get a Grimace birthday meal. If I want to taste this shake." Pull into a McDonald's and they got the big picture there in the window, big poster of Grimace and announcing his birthday meal and everything. Get up to the drive-through where to the window, the little speaker box, go to order it, and they got the television screen thing there, and it's showing Grimace's thing. So we go, and the wife's driving, so she goes ahead and orders it for me. What do you mean you don't have them anymore? What? You got the pictures up everywhere. You got the poster up, but you're not serving them anymore. That stuff should be taken down. Yeah, I would have accepted that. I have expected that answer, Data, that the ice cream machine was broken, their shake machine was broken. That's one thing about McDonald's, and you can never get a shake because their machine is broken. I usually go to Sonic, get one of their Sour Patch Kids shakes if I want a shake. I kicked Becca in the butt for introducing me to those things because I've gotten to the point where I love them now. Oh yeah, what happened to the self checkout there, Data? Is everybody else's Walmart's like ours where they only do 2 or 3 regular cashiers now, but they've got like 40 stations of self checkouts? Over half the checkout area now is all self checkout lines. I absolutely hate that. That reminds me, I have to go to Walmart today and get the wife some celery. Told them not to double bag. I'll double bag if I want to. So, well, ladies and germs, I'm going to go ahead and call this stream here for the day. I want to thank everybody come out. Retro's good to see you. Badger, Data, thank you for coming out. Mike, I appreciate y'all coming out and listening to me ramble today. Playing catch up over stuff that happened over the weekend or stuff that I almost did a double stream on Friday because there's some stuff that popped up Friday afternoon. It's like, yeah. I think I want to talk about this. But the wife came home from work and she decided that she had other things she wanted me to do instead. But y'all have a good day now. I appreciate you. And all things looks good. Fury, you have a good afternoon, evening. Yes, everybody, go to Data's. Data's got some interesting stuff up there. But y'all have a good time, enjoy, relax, and as always, be with the ones you love.